Here's something that might be uncomfortable to hear. Most of what you're doing to feel better is actually making it harder to feel better. The scrolling when you're bored. The endless content when you're lonely. The background noise you put on when things get too quiet. All of it feels like relief. And technically, it is. For about 8 minutes. And then something resets, and you need more. This is not a willpower problem. This is not a character flaw. This is your brain doing exactly what it was trained to do. Here's what neuroscience has quietly confirmed over the last decade. Happiness is not a personality trait. It's not something that randomly visits certain people and skips others. It is a skill. And like every real skill, it is built through repetition. Your brain is constantly rewiring itself based on what you repeatedly do. Every small daily choice is either training your brain towards stability and genuine contentment, or away from it. Most people don't realize this. So they spend years wondering why they feel stuck, flat, vaguely dissatisfied, even when their life, on paper, looks completely fine. This video is about changing that. 7 habits. Not productivity hacks. Not motivational wallpaper. Actual, neurologically grounded behaviors that shift how your brain processes the world. Stay with me, because the last 2 habits are the ones almost nobody talks about. And they might be the most important ones here. Let's start with the habit that's quietly destroying more people's baseline mood than almost anything else. Habit 1, stop borrowing happiness from tomorrow. Most people think dopamine is your brain's pleasure chemical. It's not. It's your anticipation chemical. It fires when your brain expects something good, and our entire digital world is engineered to trigger it on demand. Every notification. Every refresh. Every autoplay. The problem is this. Every artificial spike trains your brain to raise its threshold. And suddenly ordinary life, a morning coffee, a genuine conversation, an evening walk, barely registers. Not because those things changed. Because your brain's baseline shifted. The first habit is almost aggressively simple. The first hour after you wake up, protect it. No phone. No content. Nothing your nervous system didn't earn. Let your neurochemistry settle back to its natural level. It will feel boring at first. That boredom is actually withdrawal. And it passes. What replaces it is something most people haven't felt in years, genuine appreciation for small things. Habit 2, let morning light reset your inner clock. Your brain runs on a precise biological timer. And that timer is set by one thing above almost everything else, natural light, early in the day. Within the first hour of waking, sunlight exposure triggers serotonin production, calibrates your cortisol rhythm, and directly improves sleep quality 12 to 14 hours later. Poor sleep means emotionally dysregulated days. And dysregulated days mean you're not responding to your actual life, you're responding to a chemically distorted version of it. 5 minutes outside. No sunglasses. No phone. Just light on your face. It sounds almost too simple to matter. The neuroscience disagrees. Habit 3, move before your mind talks you out of it. Here's the honest version of the exercise conversation. You don't need a gym. You don't need a program. You don't need 45 minutes and a protein shake. What you need is to understand what movement actually does at the neurological level, because once you understand it, you'll stop treating it like a chore you're behind on. When your body moves, your brain releases a cocktail of chemicals that no supplement has ever successfully replicated. Endorphins. Dopamine. BDNF, brain-derived neurotrophic factor, which is essentially fertilizer for new neural connections. This is why a 10-minute walk after a hard conversation can shift your entire emotional state. Not because the problem disappeared. Because your brain's chemistry literally changed. The mistake most people make is waiting to feel like moving. That feeling rarely arrives on its own. Motivation is not the starting point. It's a byproduct of already being in motion. You don't wait for it. You move first. And then it appears, somewhere around minute 3 or 4, like it was there all along. Walk. Stretch. Put on music and move around your kitchen for 8 minutes. It doesn't have to be impressive. It just has to be real. Habit 4, sit quietly and do nothing. Actually nothing. This is the one people resist the most. And the resistance itself is the data. We have become so uncomfortable with mental silence that most people haven't experienced it in years. There is always a podcast, a show, a playlist, a scroll. We have outsourced our internal processing to external noise, and we wonder why our thoughts feel chaotic, our decisions feel foggy, our emotions feel like they're always running slightly ahead of us. Here's what actually happens when you sit in silence for even 5 minutes with no input. Your brain shifts into what neuroscientists call the default mode network, a processing state where unresolved thoughts get organized, emotional experiences get integrated, and genuine insight becomes possible. It feels uncomfortable because your brain isn't used to it. That discomfort is not a sign that silence is wrong. It's a sign that your nervous system has been overstimulated for so long that neutral feels strange. Start with 5 minutes. No phone face down on the table, phone in another room. No background noise. Just you and whatever thoughts arrive. Don't engage with them. Don't solve them. Just let them pass like weather. This single habit, practiced consistently, improves emotional regulation faster than almost anything else on this list. Habit 5, rewire the lens, not just the mood. Your brain has a built-in architectural bias toward the negative. This isn't pessimism. It's ancient biology. The brain that noticed threats survived. The brain that focused on what was going well got eaten. But you are not being chased by anything. And yet your brain is still running that same threat detection software, flagging what went wrong, what could go wrong, what isn't enough yet. At the end of each day, ask yourself one question. Not what went wrong today, your brain already cataloged that automatically. Ask, what actually worked? A conversation that felt real. A task you finished. A moment where you didn't react the way you used to. Something small. Something true. This is not toxic positivity. This is deliberate neural training. And the difference it makes over 30 days is not subtle. Habit 6, stop bleeding energy on things that don't matter. Every decision you make costs something. Not money. Not time. Mental energy. And your brain has a daily budget of it that is far smaller than most people realize. Psychologists call it decision fatigue, and it explains something that probably feels familiar. Why you can be completely disciplined in the morning and find yourself making choices by evening that the morning version of you would never make. Why you eat well all day and then stand in front of the refrigerator at 10 p.m. making choices that have nothing to do with hunger. It's not weakness. It's depletion. Your brain spent its decision budget on 100 small things that didn't actually require your full cognitive attention. What to wear. What to eat. When to reply to that message. Whether to check that notification. Small leaks. Constant. Invisible. Expensive. The habit here isn't about becoming robotic. It's about protecting your mental energy for the moments that deserve it. Build loose structure into your days. Reduce the number of open questions you carry before noon. Make small recurring decisions once, and stop remaking them daily. A brain that isn't exhausted by the unnecessary has something left for what's real. Habit 7, audit what you're feeding your mind. This is the most underestimated habit on this list. Your brain is not a passive observer of the content you consume. It is actively absorbing it, referencing it, using it to build its model of what the world is like, what people are like, what you are capable of, what is worth wanting. Think about the last 30 minutes of content you consumed before this video. What did it tell your brain about the world? Because here's what neuroscience is increasingly clear about, your default emotional state is heavily shaped by your information environment. Not occasionally. Consistently. The tone of what you watch, read, and listen to becomes the tone of your internal voice. The anxieties that dominate your feed become the anxieties that quietly colonize your thinking. This is not about becoming a content monk who only watches documentaries about nature. It's about being honest. Does what you consume regularly make you feel more capable, more curious, more connected to your actual life? Or does it mostly leave you feeling behind, inadequate, agitated, or numb? You don't need to delete everything. You need to be intentional. Curate. Be selective in the same way you'd be selective about what you eat if you were trying to change how your body feels. Your brain becomes what it repeatedly encounters. So here is the only question that actually matters at the end of this video. Not which habit is most interesting. Not which one makes the most logical sense. Which one are you willing to start tomorrow? Not all 7. 1. Because the people who actually change how their brain feels over time are not the ones with the most ambitious plans. They're the ones who picked something small, stayed consistent, and let the compounding do what compounding does. Your brain is learning something right now in this exact moment. It's learning from every input, every choice, every pattern you repeat without thinking. The only real question is whether you're going to start deciding what it learns. Because that decision, that single shift in ownership, is where everything else begins. If this gave you something real today, share it with someone who needs it. And subscribe if you want more of this honest psychology, no fluff, no empty motivation. Just the truth about how your mind actually works. I'll see you in the next one.